Hello, today I'm going to be going over TryHackme's Phishing Emails 3 room. Like my other videos, this is going to be more of a demonstration than an explanation, so I'm only briefly going to go through these tasks here and really going to spend most of the time in these cases where we actually have to do the work. But I will go through them briefly, just giving an overview, as I'll leave you to go through the rooms on your own for the bulk of the information. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started in task 1. Task 1 talks about how in Phishing Room 1 we covered how to manually sift through the raw source code. In this room we're going to be going over tools that will do what we did in Phishing Room 1, but it kind of automates it for us. And it gives us that classic warning to proceed with caution if you attempt to interact with any of the IPs, domains, attachments, etc. Anyway, let's go ahead and complete that and move on to task 2. What information should we collect? This just gives a good checklist on the kind of information that you should look for, as well as a checklist of the artifacts that you should collect from the email body. Again, I'll leave you to read through this. Let's go ahead on to task 3. Email header analysis. This talks about how some of the pertinent information that we need to collect can be obtained visually from an email client or web client, such as Gmail, Yahoo, Thunderbird, etc. But some of that, such as the sender's IP address information or reply to, can only be obtained via the email header. And in phishing emails, when we looked how to get that information manually, but here we're going to go through a few tools that will automate this process. And the first one being message header. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to write these down so in our future tasks it will be much easier to grab them. So I'm going to say email header analysis. We'll put message header there as one of them, and it gives a picture of what that will look like, and also gives another tool for us here, and we'll paste that in there as well. And it gives a third tool called mailheader.org. Guess I really didn't need to type that out, huh? And it also says that we should read about MTAs and MUAs, and I'll leave you to do that. And it gives a good note that the option on which tool to use rests ultimately on you, but it's good to have multiple resources because one tool might show information that another one doesn't, and it really does come down to just personal preference. Moving on to some of the other tools, it has IP info, which helps you analyze information about the sender's IP address. So we will make a new analyzer. I misspelled that, but whatever. Alright, and there's another one, URL scan here. Again, I'm just putting these all in here so we can find them easier later on. And it looks like there's a reputation one that you can look at. It says URL to PNG. These ones will show you a URL and what it looks like, to where you don't actually have to go to that location to see what it looks like. So in case it's like malicious, you don't have to actually go there. It'll like show you a picture of what it looks like. And reputation will just kind of show you the reputations of the domains that you're looking at. And let's get ahead on the questions. What is the official site name of the bank that Capitai1.com tried to resemble? The hint says that there's external research required, but it's pretty obvious that it's trying to impersonate Capital One. Alrighty, and let's move on to task 4, email body analysis. I'm going to go ahead and just make a little new body analysis. It says here it's time to direct our focus to the email body, and this is where the malicious payload may be delivered, such as links. And it gives an example here on how you can actually get that link manually by just right-clicking it and then clicking copy link location, and then maybe just putting it into a notepad or something like that. But it does give us some tools that we can use that will actually give us that information without having to go through manually. And what's cool about these ones is that you actually just need to copy and paste the entire message header, and it will extract all the URLs inside of it. So if there's more than one, it'll grab them all. And it just kind of gives an example of what this URL extractor looks like. And here it also says that we can use CyberChef as well to extract the URLs with the extract URLs recipe. And it gives us a tip that it's important to note the root domain of the extracted URLs. For example, the root domain here would be devret.xyz. All right, moving on. It also says that if an email has an attachment, you'll need to obtain that attachment safely, and you can easily do that in Thunderbird by just using the save button. Thunderbird is, I believe, Linux's email client, so if you have a .eml file, you can just open that up with Thunderbird and see what the actual email would have looked like. It also shows us a way to obtain the file's SHA-256 hash via the command line. And it shows that there's many tools available to help with this. And it says, once again, that Talos file reputation that we put in earlier. And the other one is virus total, which we will put in now as well. And again, it just kind of shows screenshots of these programs. And it also has another tool or company, Reversing Labs, so we'll add that as well to our reputation. And moving into the questions, how can you manually get the location of a hyperlink? You can copy the link location. Alrighty, moving on to task 5, we have Malware Sandbox. So malware sandboxes are tools that you can use to upload malicious files and analyze them. For instance, you can upload an attachment and see what URLs it attempts to communicate with. And it gives any run as an example of that. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our list. There we go. And it just kind of shows you what that one looks like. Hybrid analysis is another one. And we'll put that in too. And joesecurity.org is yet another one. And the question is just read it above, so we'll complete that and move on to Fish Tool. And they leave Fish Tool for last because it's basically a combination of multiple of the tools that we've seen here today. It's pretty neat, and it shows some screenshots of it. You can get all the header information, as well as what was actually inside of the email, as well as the HTML, and you can link virus total to it, which was mentioned earlier, so you can see whether it was malicious, etc., etc. It's a very cool tool. I recommend reading through this and seeing it, but I'm going to go ahead and basically just skip over it so as to not waste anyone's time. Moving on to the questions, look at the strings output. What is the name of the exe file? So if we scroll up here to where it shows the strings outputs, this is kind of what we did in another room. I made a video on it called mouse strings. Go check it out. It basically just pulls all the strings from the email, and it looks like this would be our guy. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here so I can just copy and paste it over, because there's no way that I'm going to remember all of these numbers, and I don't want to waste anyone's time. But again, this would be the answer right here. All right, and now moving on to the good stuff. Task 7, phishing case 1. We're going to go ahead and start the machine, and let's take a look at the scenario. You are a level 1 SOC analyst. Several suspicious emails have been forwarded to you from other coworkers, and you must obtain details from each email for your team to implement the appropriate rules to prevent colleagues from receiving additional spam or phishing emails. And it wants us to use the tools discussed throughout this room or our own resources to help us analyze each email header and email body. The machine is just booted up, but I want to show you guys MX Toolbox. This is another one that's used to analyze headers. I really like this one personally, so I'm going to add it to our little list here. And it's a header analysis, so we'll put it up here with our other header analysis, analyzers, I should say. The machine is not up yet. I lied. Alrighty, and it looks like it's booted up, so I'm just going to go ahead and view it in full screen and exit the split view. And actually, now it looks like it's still loading. Alright, looks like it's loaded up, so let's take a look. Going straight into the questions, what brand was this email tailored to impersonate? The easiest way to figure this out, and we're going to be looking at the Fish 3 Case 1 EML file, is the easiest way is to actually take a look at what that email looks like. So we're going to open up it in Thunderbird. But first, let me find the location. It is right here. I'm going to Control C to copy that. CD, paste. CD into it. I'm going to write Thunderbird fish3 case1.eml. I'm going to run that. And if you look at the actual file, there's a dash here, but that dash is only there because it's going over the limit. The actual name is right here. And bam, it's all opened up. Just looking at it real quick, your Netflix account is on hold. They're attempting to impersonate Netflix for sure. So we're going to go ahead and put Netflix. And then what is the from email address? Going back to it, we can see that this is the from email address. Copy email address, paste, submit. What is the originating IP? Defang the IP address. So what we're going to use is we're going to use CyberChef to actually defang it, but we still have to find the originating one. The best way to do that would be to grab the message headers. We're going to open it up and get those message headers. We could manually look through. It's right here. But for the sake of the demonstration of the tools, I'm going to be using MX Toolbox and then Analyze Headers. I'm just going to paste it in here. Click Analyze. It'll give us the results. And X originating IP is right here. Control C, Control V. But we have to defang it. So what we have to do is we're going to have to go to CyberChef, copy link, paste. And we are going to put defang. We're going to defang an IP address. And now we're going to go back here, copy that IP address again, put it into the input, and here we get a defanged IP address. And there we go. From what you can gather, what do you think will be a domain of interest? Defang the domain. Again, we'll be using CyberChef to defang it. But going back to our email header analyzer, we're just going to be looking through for some domains. We see one right here. We see another one. It's the same one. Just kind of scrolling through, we see Yahoo. But out of all the ones that we can see with just a quick look through, mxgoogle.com, this one looks to be the most suspicious. So we're going to Control C to copy, Control V paste. And once again, I forgot to defang it. So we're going to go back to CyberChef and we're going to clear this recipe, pull over the defang URL, paste it in, Control C to copy, paste, submit. And on to the next one. What is the shortened URL? Defang the URL. We are going to go back and take a look right here where it says update account. We're going to right click and we'll do copy link location, making sure that it's over here. It is. Control C. We are once again going to put that into CyberChef and get this output. Control C, Control V, and that gives us the answer. Alrighty, on to task 8, phishing case 2. A malicious attachment from a phishing email inspected in the previous phishing room was uploaded to any run for analysis, and our task is to investigate the analysis and answer the questions below. So we can actually close out of those, and we're going to open this link in a new tab and take a look at what it says. But let's look at these questions. What does any run classify this email as? Taking a look at this for the first time, it can look a little bit overwhelming, but it's actually not too bad. If you look down here and scroll across, you can see what the phishing email actually looks like, each little individual bit. And then here you have HTTP requests, connections, DNS requests, threats, etc., etc. And then you have processes involved with it. Looking back at the question, what does it classify the email as? If we look up here, we can see that it classifies it as suspicious activity. So we can just copy that, paste it. What is the name of the PDF file? It's paymentupdateid.pdf. All right, if we click on it, we can actually just copy that information there. And the next question is, what is the SHA-256 hash? We look right here. Here it is. We can manually copy it, or we can click this copy button here. What two IP addresses are classified as malicious? Defang the IP addresses, and they want it in this format. We're going to use CyberChef to defang them, but first we have to find them. The best thing to do here, in my opinion, to find it is to click on Text Report right here, and then Control F for find, and just look for malicious. And since we're looking for IP addresses, we're going to click through. Here's one. Copy. Let's look at the format, but we're going to go ahead and just paste that one in there for now. And we are also going to look at the next page, and we can see that this one right here is also listed as malicious, and these two are the same. So we will once again add that to it. We're going to copy both of these, and we are going to place them into CyberChef. So paste it in there. Copy our IP addresses again. Defang. I keep doing defanged, but we'll put those there. Make it into the format that they want. So copy, paste. They probably don't want the 443 at the end. Alrighty. What Windows process was flagged as potentially bad traffic? Once again, we're just going to do a Control F for potentially bad traffic. And this is the process, svchost.exe. And you can manually look through and find that information, but there is a lot of information to go through. So I like using Control F to find stuff quickly. Moving on to task 9, phishing case 3. It's the same thing. You're a level 1 SOC analyst, and they want us to analyze another any run. So we are going to open that up, and it wants to know what the analysis is classified as. Looking back up here again, it's malicious activity. We're going to Control C, Control V. What is the name of the Excel file? Once again, we can just click on it, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. What is the SHA-256 hash? Once again, we're just going to copy it. These questions so far are just the same. It just wants to give you kind of idea on how to navigate through this. What domains are listed as malicious? Defang the URLs and submit answers in alphabetical order. So there's actually more than one way of finding this, as with most things. My favorite way is to use the text report like we did before, but you can also use the DNS requests right down here, and it'll show you all three as well. But for the sake of showing it to you my way, we can see right here DNS requests, and it looks like there's 3 of them. Interestingly enough, here in the DNS requests for that www38 find results.site, it says its reputation is suspicious. However, on the one right above for that same domain, its reputation is malicious. So it's going to be all 3 of these. So once again, just going to put them in here. It wants it in a specific format, and we also have to, I believe, defang them. Yep. So we will once again go to CyberChef, clear the recipe, put in defang URL, and paste it. And now we're going to copy this, paste it in, and there we go. Next question is, what IP addresses are listed as malicious? Defang the IP addresses and submit answers from lowest to highest. So it's going to be the same thing. If we actually go to connections right down here, we can actually see those 3 IPs. But again, I like using it this way with trying to Control F. I think it looks better and it's easier to view. So it wants lowest to highest, I believe. Lowest to highest, yep. So we are going to collect this guy, this guy, and this guy, and we'll get rid of the :80. Control C to copy. We'll be defanging IP addresses. Copying that and pasting it in here. And then what vulnerability does this malicious attachment attempt to exploit? If we look at the hint, it wants us to provide the CVE number. So easiest way is, once again, Control F, CVE, and we can see it right there. But you can also find it right here as well. And then going on to task 10, the conclusion, it just shows that these are just some of the tools that can help you. I used MX Toolbox earlier. I just prefer it. But there are many, many great tools. Even though we didn't really use most of them, these are all good tools that I would bookmark and have in your repertoire. Anyway, that's about it. If you liked the video, please like. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. Thank you, and have a good one.